Women should remain silent in the churches. They are not allowed to speak, but must be in submission, as the law says. If they want to inquire about something, they should ask their own husbands at home. For it is disgraceful for a woman to speak in the church.
Samuel said to Saul, I am the one the Lord sent to anoint you king over his people Israel. So listen now to the message from the Lord. This is what the Lord Almighty says. I will punish the Amalekites.
Jésus, par ton sang précieux, enlève mon iniquité. Regarde-moi sur les cieux, dis-moi que tu m'as pardonné. J'ai longtemps erré cœur rebelle, mais j'entends ta voix qui m'appelle. Au pied de ta croix maintenant, tout confus, brisé, je me rends. Blanc, blanc, plus blanc que neige, blanc, plus blanc que neige, lavé dans le sang de l'agneau, je serai plus blanc que la neige.
Now go, attack the Amalekites, and totally destroy all that belongs to them. Do not spare them. Put to death men and women, children and infants, cattle and sheep, camels and donkeys. 1 Samuel 15.
Greetings, brothers and sisters, and welcome to this 25th episode of God is Not White. My name is Jafri Kaiti, and it is my immense pleasure to host the program and to welcome you this evening. So, I greet you from Ottawa, Gatineau, as you know, the capital of Canada. I often remind my viewers that in this city, Ottawa, Gatineau, was held a meeting on January 31st, February 1st, 2003, dubbed the Ottawa Initiative on Haiti. And that meeting has consequences that the people of Haiti are living today, whereas in February 2004, when the coup that was planned during the Ottawa Initiative on Haiti was implemented, Haiti, the millions of people there had 7,000 elected officials that they had in office, and today they have zero. All of them were deposed by invading forces from the United States, France, and Canada. And they called it the responsibility to protect. We're still trying to identify who they were, in fact, protecting. Tonight, we are going to talk about hypocrisy, about wars, and about how a number of human beings have decided that our collective lives are not worth much because war is what they continue to invest in. For those of you who are familiar with the program, you know the format. We usually have a few slides, we present, and then we invite you to join us. So please do so if you feel so inclined, as we will only have 6 slides tonight. So it's a very brief presentation, but we got a couple of videos that we are going to share with you in this 25th episode. where the title is No More Big Beautiful Wars. Indeed, the megalomaniac leader of the United States of North America has a habit of calling everything that he does beautiful. And we know his inclination to call things big, huge. These are the type of words that he uses to describes to describe all kinds of things. And there are folks who were quite surprised and taken aback, angered by this demonstration of folly when, for his own birthday, Donald Trump, organized a parade, very similar to what we've seen in other countries that leaders of the United States and Canada usually call, dictators, bloodthirsty, whatever. But yeah, that was happening in the United States of North America just a couple of weeks ago. And we are dealing with countries that have nuclear weapons, and that's why we don't find it funny at all that they are playing with all of our lives. Okay, if you've followed us since December 25th, 2024, you know the focus of this program is the relationship that people of African descent have with Judeo-Christianity. So the whole idea of people who were kidnapped from the shores of West Africa, and some of us actually from East Africa and the center, uh, who were forced to convert to Christianity or to Islam, and the relationship we end up having with that belief system, which is the same type of subjugation that the native peoples of Australia, of New Zealand, of Canada, and much of the Americas had to undergo. But we speak from the perspective of someone who grew up a Christian, the son and grandson of Episcopalian priest, a church that was established by Africans who found freedom in Haiti in the mid 1800s. And we spoke about the history of the religion because we find that one of the things that was always lacking, and that is still lacking, in churches is a bit of the history of the faith that people are practicing. How did Christianity come to be? How did Judaism come to be for Christianity to, spring out from it, and all the various denominations, Catholic, Protestants, etc., etc. We spoke about key players of Christianity, such as Constantine, Paul, and others, and how the books got compiled, how the votes went at the Council of Nicaea, Council of Trent, and how these decisions got to establish what is canon or the dogma of the religion. And then we spoke about some of the strategies that peoples around the world have used to try to make the colonial tool that Judeo-Christianity had been uh, into something that is slightly better. As you know, uh, in the enterprise of enslavement, where the Europeans built those ships to go and kidnap men, women, and children in Africa, sometimes you would have Jews, Christians, both Protestants and Catholic, because the Reformation was taking place around the same time as the arrival of Christopher Columbus in the Americas, and the intensification of the kidnappings of Africans. And so these things happen at the same time. So you would have Arabs, Muslim Arabs, participating in the kidnapping of Africans, collaborating with Jews who finance the slave ships, and Christians, all three Judeo-Christian faiths participating in that criminal enterprise. And um, it's not a coincidence that one of the first slave ships was called the Jesus of Lubeck, right? So from there to liberation theology, one of the strategies of people trying to make this thing a little bit better, more palatable. And then, some Africans try to put some social justice into Christianity, like Reverend Martin Luther King and others, uh, and even going as far as putting an image of a black Jesus in a church. And we said all of these things are for naught because the thing cannot be fixed. The establishment of Judeo Christianity is on conquest, and the role assigned to the missionaries, beside the militaries and the merchants, is to subjugate the conquered peoples and make them accept the violence and the new reality. And so we spoke about some of the other strategies where some of the churches have issued apologies, but with no restitution of all of the goods, the properties that they had looted from the people. Therefore, these are fake repentance from our perspective, because true repentance would come with restitution and reparations. We say it is important to replace preachers of myths with teachers of history, the total of human history. And last week we spoke about why forgiveness, forgetfulness, or cowardice are not appropriate strategies. And tonight we say no more big, beautiful wars such as we understood happened with the bombing of Nagasaki and Hiroshima not so long ago. There is hope because a young, a new generation, a generation of young people are engaged in imagining a different future. However, are there enough people standing up to accompany them to make sure that there will be a planet for them to inhabit in the next 20 or so years? A few years back, we issued this call for African soldiers all around the world who have been used in the armies of European conquerors of other people's lands. And so the context of this is that we saw a strategy being used to mobilize armies of mercenaries, mainly from Africa, to go and be the front players, the front face of imperialist invasions. This is not new. I mean, many of you may know about les tirailleurs sénégalais, these Africans who came not just from Senegal, despite the name, who were taken by the French, okay, to go and fight in the so-called Second World War, which is really the war among Europeans, where they were taking Africans to go and fight at the front. And many of these tirailleurs sénégalais not only were denied their pension when they survived, despite being at the front, okay? The French government, the French army, massacred a number of them who were demonstrating, demanding their pay. And this is not the only such occurrence. And so when in 2022 it started to become known that the United States, Canada, and the European powers, who are part of some crazy thing called the core group, who have been in charge of Haiti since February 29, 2004, the coup that deposed the last real Haitian government led by President Jean-Bertrand Aristide. Once we heard of this plan that now they are going to be using Africans as mercenaries to go and subdue a majority black people of Haiti, we issued this call. And later on, when we realized that this was just a strategy that they're going to be multiplying its use for the same purpose in countries such as Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, where the same imperialist powers have the audacity to claim resources that belong to the people of the land. And so we called on all Africans, particularly black soldiers worldwide, regardless of the national army in which they are enrolled, to categorically refuse taking part in any imperialist invasion of Haiti, Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso. We could add Palestine, and we could add Iran today. Countries that resist against neocolonial slavers, insatiable terrorists, and mineral resources thieves. And we translated that into French, Spanish, Portuguese, Kiswahili, and we are asking others for their help to get this message out in many languages. Now, when we issued this statement, were we naive? Do we not understand what has been happening in the Congo, where it is the army of African nations such as Rwanda, such as Kenya, that have been used by the imperialist in order to continue to fleece the mineral resources rich Congo? The point is, if no one says anything, well, it will continue. And we're just trying to plant a seed here so that some soldiers might awaken to the fact that they are being used. Now, that said, we hope that many of these people can remember the great examples of Muhammad Ali, among others. And so, that said, I will now share with you the aspirations of a young son of Haiti um, who actually lives in Australia. And he issued a video a couple of days ago, and the title is Haiti, which is how we pronounce Haiti in our language, the language that takes it from the first peoples of the land, the Arawak-speaking people who had called the island Haiti. He's in Australia. He's the son of Haitians who migrated there in the 70s. But his attachment to the people of the land is fairly strong, as you will see in the video. And this is the use of AI technology. I will not comment on it right away. I'll let you watch it, and then we will say a few words later.
Non, nous pas qu'à juste chita ici là encore.
Time to gather the army.
Hello?
Ghislaine, it's Captain Drewster. Remember the favor you owe me?
Yeah. What you need, Captain?
I need an army.
An army?
C'est ça, m'te I need you to set up recruitment stations at every single Haitian carnival in America.
Moi sa wap fe la. It's about time, El Capitan. It's about time.
You see how we move as one? Isn't it beautiful?
Pou ki sa nou bezwen moun na uniform an Haiti anko?
Pou ki so pa kontan wè pe gen lod?
What you think?
Are you sure this isn't a scam? Because if it is, I'm good. But if this is a thing, then I'm in. Gotta take our empire back, you feel me?
We are near the southeast of Haiti, near the village of Belloc. These foreigners are mining something you won't believe. Look, it's vibranium.
Some breaking news from Haiti. In a shock twist of events, the Haitian Diaspora Army, dubbed the Indigenous Army, have arrived unannounced in Port-au-Prince.
This is unbelievable. The Haitian Diaspora Army has arrived, 1,000 strong, right here in Port-au-Prince. Hope is here. Nou rive, na boule! Wakanda forever, bitches!
Go, go, go! C'est un coup d'état?
Finally, we're home to free Haiti once again. We sent the gangs and politicians to Guantanamo Bay.
Breaking news from Guantanamo Bay. Cuba has regained control of the base, and celebrity prisoners are now arriving, facing an uncertain fate under Cuban authority.
Il nous faut 115 millions de francs en lingots d'or pour 17 heures. Compris?
Compris. 115 millions.
En aller.
Merci beaucoup, mais tu peux garder la monnaie, on insiste. We lost the DR because in 1825, France held us financially ransom. We just got that back, so the border is gone and big business is on. All enemies of this island are in Guantanamo now. So it's going to be free cultural festivals that will bring the people together in all our diversity. You see all this? This is what's going to make Haiti great again, and that's why the Americans are packing their bags as we speak. You see this? Pyrolysis is the opposite of refining oil, but all that plastic you see is the perfect kickstart to Haiti's biofuel industry.
Wow.
So simple, huh?
Yep.
We are using our drone battalions mostly for deliveries. Seeds, food, love letters, we gotcha.
What will you do next?
We are creating business loans for all Haitian citizens in diaspora, which will be paid for with our new Vibranium Trust.
That's Kenskoff, Port-au-Prince. Now we can party in Cité Soleil.
Welcome to Labadé, where only locals are welcome. All our new recruits train here for 10 weeks before they can work in the Citadel. Citadel La Ferrière is fully operational now, and we've got drones and refitted the cannons with long-range lasers which can reach the sea.
This reminds me of the Wakanda story.
But this real. That's where we're going.
Well, we say thank you to Olmeka Bookman for this 4-minute film, which we understand aspires to tell us, that there is hope and there is a way to get out of the current quagmire in Haiti. Of course, to go from calling on African soldiers to refuse to accept orders to attack innocent people around the world, to the idea that some of the soldiers might now take matters into their hands and recruit an army of the diaspora is a long way. However, the vision is quite clear here, as you see it at the beginning of the film, where young boys and young girls could be enjoying peace in their paradise island, drinking and eating the fruit of the land without imperialist invaders coming to disturb their lives. Aibobo, my young little friend. All right. Okay, so let's go to now I'm calling the man is a grown man. Anyways, I'm not going into that. Okay. Let's go to the next slide. Now, the next excerpt I will share with you is about history. You know, we saw an aspirational one. Now we're going to talk about what happened in reality that got erased. It so happens that today, when the man who sees himself as king of the world, Donald Trump, is mobilizing his militaries, it's about helping the people of Israel who are threatened apparently by others in the area, and the others include Iran. It so happens that a benevolent enterprise to rescue the people of Jerusalem actually happened. And in the book, The Rescue of Jerusalem, Henri Aubin, who is a white Jewish author who lives in Montreal, published this in 2002. And I will just share with you some excerpt of my conversation with Henri Aubin back in 2012 and 2022. We'll do a little bit of translation as we go through the slides.
Oui, allô, bonsoir.
Bonsoir. Tout va bien ici maintenant.
Parfait, parfait. Donc, je vais donc on va faire ça en français, n'est-ce pas?
Oui, oui.
Ok, parfait.
Il y avait quelquefois des livres sur des chanteurs, des boxeurs, des joueurs de football, etc. Mais ces personnes, bien qu'ils sont des héros, ils sont pas des grands héros d'histoire.
Ouais.
Alors, comme je ne trouvais pas de livres de grands...
Et ça, c'était à Montréal?
Oui, c'était à Montréal. Et bien sûr, je devrais ajouter que bien sûr, il y avait des livres sur les gens comme Martin Luther King, des vrais héros. Mais pour un jeune garçon de savoir pourquoi un tel personnage est un héros, il faut savoir que sa race est détestée.
So here, Henri Aubin is explaining the motivation for him to write the book. He has a young son who is adopted, who is of Haitian origin, whose parents are Haitian, biological parents. And he's looking for heroes, Black heroes, but Black military heroes. And he's saying that, yeah, you know, he found books in the libraries and videos about Martin Luther King and, you know, Pele and others, but not military ones, because he was looking for not stories where for him to find a hero, he has to also learn that his people were hated, and he was trying to escape that. So he was looking for, you know, a conquest type of Alexander the Great type of hero equivalent in Africa or in Black history. And let's hear what happened.
Et ça, ce n'est pas un jeune garçon.
For young,
donc, je vais trouver
des
exemples plus positifs. Mais j'en trouvais pas. Alors, ma mère a dit, ma femme a dit, la mère de Nicolas a dit, Henry regarde dans l'histoire de l'Afrique et peut-être dans les bouquins sur l'histoire, tu vas pouvoir trouver certains personnages et tu vas pouvoir lui raconter des choses intéressantes sur ces personnes.
find some
j'ai tout de
interesting
suite
heroes
tombé
in African
sur
history. And then I found
une civilisation qui
the
s'appelle
civilization
civilisation kushite ou
of
nubien.
Kush.
Peut-être le terme nubien, c'est plus courant que
People are more familiar with the term
les
Nubia, but
Nubiens habitaient là où c'est aujourd'hui le Soudan,
it's
c'est-à-dire juste au sud
where
du
now
Nil
is the
et sur la rivière
Sudan.
du Nil. C'est comme ça que j'ai tombé sur
And that's when I fell
une
on
histoire incroyable.
an incredible
Une histoire qui n'était pas du
history,
tout connue,
a story that is
bien que c'est
well known,
écrit 3 fois dans la
although
Bible, dans le Vieux Testament.
Ouais,
features
le livre des rois.
in
Le livre des rois, le livre deuxième chronique
Chronicles
et le livre d'Ésaïe.
Le livre d'Ésaïe, ok.
Il n'y a aucune histoire qui est racontée tellement de fois
there
dans la
is
Bible.
no other
Donc,
history
les
taught
anciens
in text
Hébreux
that shows up so
donnaient
many times in the
beaucoup
Bible.
d'importance à cette histoire. Et je vais vous
So
raconter
there is
l'histoire
a
rapidement,
lot of
si
importance
je peux.
related to the story to the ancient Hebrew.
Alors, l'histoire se passe il y a 2700 ans dans
2007
le Moyen-Orient.
in the Middle
Il y
East,
avait Jérusalem, qui était la capitale d'une toute
Jerusalem
petite royaume, c'était un tout petit
was the
royaume
capital of a small kingdom,
hébreu,
Hebrew kingdom,
d'environ une population de ce royaume qui s'appelait Juda, était approximativement 125 000 personnes,
about
d'après les archéologues.
125,000 people.
Jérusalem et le royaume de Juda faisaient partie de l'empire assyrien.
And that was part of the Assyrian Empire.
L'Assyrie était la puissance, enfin,
At the
la
time,
seule superpuissance
the Assyrian Empire
mondiale
was the
de
one
cette époque.
Donc c'était
superpower.
plus même que l'équivalent des États-Unis d'aujourd'hui.
Absolument, absolument.
Equivalent of the United States.
Autrefois, l'Égypte avait été très importante, mais
Egypt
l'Égypte,
was very powerful, but it was already
les pharaons a duré 3000 ans. C'est incroyable de penser ça.
after 2,000 years of domination. Egypt,
À l'époque, au 8e siècle avant Jésus-Christ, l'Égypte était en décadence. Il n'y avait aucune puissance, une puissance militaire très faible.
So Egypt's military power was in decline.
Assez faible à l'époque. La gloire de l'Égypte était déjà passée.
Donc l'Égypte était déjà en déclin.
Absolument, absolument. Donc il y avait ce tout petit royaume de 125 000 personnes et qui s'est révolté contre l'empereur assyrien dans l'année 701.
Kingdom of
Donc
Judah,
701 avant Jésus-Christ.
with Jerusalem.
Donc à ce moment-là, l'Assyrie, le roi assyrien avait déjà conquis une bonne partie de ce qu'on appelait Israël à l'époque, excepté la ville de Jérusalem ou...
Oui, enfin c'est un peu compliqué. Juste si je peux ouvrir une parenthèse rapidement, 20 ans avant cette histoire, il n'y avait pas un, mais plutôt deux royaumes hébreux. Il y avait, au nord, il y avait l'Israël, qui avait une population d'environ 200 000 personnes et qui était la plus sophistiquée des deux royaumes. Et juste au sud était Juda avec sa capitale, Jérusalem, une capitale qui n'avait aucune significance religieuse très importante. Donc vraiment, à l'époque, Juda était un royaume tout à fait secondaire. La culture religieuse, je devrais ajouter, était polythéistique, c'est-à-dire ils croyaient dans plusieurs dieux. Il y avait le dieu chef était Yahweh, mais il avait une femme et il y avait d'autres dieux aussi. Alors ça aurait été plusieurs siècles, 400 ou 500 ans avant l'émergence du judaïsme et le monothéisme. On ne peut pas parler de juifs à Jérusalem à cette époque. Il faut parler de hébreux. Et bien sûr, les juifs ont seulement c'est seulement avec l'émergence du
Yeah, it's
judaïsme
only once you have
qu'on peut
Judaism
parler
you can talk about Judaism.
des juifs.
Oui, oui.
So,
Alors, 20 ans avant cette
20 years
invasion des
before
Assyriens,
the Assyrian
les Assyriens avaient conquéri Israël. Ils avaient absolument écrasé l'Israël.
and they
Ils avaient liquidé
completely
l'Israël.
ransacked
Les gens qui ont survécu ont été
country that
déportés
was
et
taken
dispersés dans le grand empire
before
assyrien et
Judah.
on n'a jamais plus
And they dispersed the people,
on n'a jamais entendu parler
and
d'eux,
they
ils
never
sont disparus.
could come back.
Et donc la civilisation hébreu
So the
à
Hebrew
l'époque de
civilization
cette histoire,
during the
dans
period
les années 701 avant Jésus-Christ,
around 701 before
consistait seulement de Juda avec ses 125
when
000
he had
personnes
Judah and the 125,000 people,
et la capitale
Jérusalem.
and Jerusalem as its capital.
Alors,
okay, so I will stop it here, the excerpt, and I encourage you, if you understand French, to go follow the 4 parts interview with Henri Aubin. Suffice it to say that in the rescue of Jerusalem, what Henri Aubin discovered is that this was a well-known story that the Pharaoh, Pianky or Piye, sent his nephew, Taharka, who would later become himself a pharaoh, to go and liberate the people of Jerusalem who were being besieged by the king of the Assyrians. Okay? And there was no hope for them if this support did not arrive. And, you know, it was well known and celebrated that these Africans from Kush or Nubia, who were then leading both the kingdom of Kush and Kemet, that they're calling Egypt now, they had this relationship for several years because, of course, Africans inhabited all of that region, as you know. Well, later on, when the people inhabiting Jerusalem and the rest of Judah became enemies of the Africans of Kemet and of Nubia, they obfuscated the story. They did not want to admit that they were saved, they were rescued by the armies of the Kushite Empire. And so they invented, and so when he refers to those 3 areas in the Bible, in the book of Isaiah, the book of Kings, the book of Chronicles, well, when you read the story, when it comes to how Jerusalem was saved, they create something called the angel of God, who intervened and caused rats to eat the military tools of the Assyrian army. But for some reason, the people who were doctoring the text did not completely erase the fact that the army of Pianky and Taharka was marching towards Jerusalem. But of course, he did this investigative work to realize that this was, for the longest time, acknowledged fact. And the Hebrew people celebrated the whole thing. But once they were creating the new superstition that they call Judaism, the writers kind of make corrections to the story so that, you know, the story can be told otherwise. It is interesting that this story came about from a white Jewish man who was looking for stories to tell his black adoptive son. And I really encourage you, if you do understand French, to check out the 4 parts of the interview with Henri Aubin, which is on my YouTube channel. If you go on the playlist in French, you will find those 4 interviews, because it goes in detail, because you'll see Henri Aubin as he was in 2022 in Montreal, and then the audio that you heard here is from our conversation in 2012. So within 10 years, you can see the difference, and how he was telling me about how his book is doing, and we spoke also about his son, for whom he was doing this research, and another book that focuses on Pianky, or Piye, a pharaoh who is described in such elogious manners that you wonder how come people who are studying civilization, or in our history books, we don't learn more about this man. And when Henri Aubin was telling me about how the Africans, the Kushites, under Pianky, okay, did not conduct themselves in a manner similar to what was happening at the time when conquest happens. For instance, one example he gave is that there's a practice when you conquer a new people. They bring you 50 women, virgins and whatever, and they did that, and Pianky said, no, we go away, like we don't do that. Okay, we're not here to subdue people. And so it's um, almost unbelievable, but this is telling us that what we are living today is not the only way that it can be, and there are other ways that, even with much power, human beings have cohabited with others, sharing knowledge as opposed to, subjugating those who are considered weaker. Anyways, let's move to the next slide that I wanted to share with you. And I remind you that after the presentation, this will be available on the website, jafricahaiti.com. So we spoke about the imaginary liberation of Haiti, as the young son of Haiti in Australia saw it. I gave you the example of the rescue of Jerusalem once upon a time in real human history. And now let's talk about what we are facing today. What we are facing today requires courage. It requires that we come out of our so-called comfort zone, as it is no longer comfortable. It requires us to take a stand for justice and peace. I give you here the example of Komokoda, which is the Committee to Mobilize Against Dictatorship in Haiti. They're organizing a demonstration this coming Friday in New York in front of the Haitian consulate. And they are calling for an end to puppet regimes in Haiti. As I've mentioned earlier, since 2004, there hasn't been a real Haitian chosen government in power. It is the invading forces led mainly by the United States, Canada, and France, and others who make all of the major decisions in Haiti, and they use puppets to try to put a new constitution that will allow the mining companies, those multinationals who are usually led by an American and a Canadian, etc. And they want to take the gold of Haiti without paying fair price, just like they want the gold of Burkina Faso, the the Congo, the uranium, etc. That's basically greed that is fueling all of these wars. And we are reminded what happened at Hiroshima and Nagasaki not so long ago. So those folks who are telling us that they're fighting so that Iran doesn't have nuclear weapons, they do not have the qualification to speak on such matters because they are the only ones to have used the nuclear bomb twice with all of the destruction that happened. And this is without counting all these other aggressions that they have conducted and they continue to conduct around the world. And so please take a stand as there is still time to do something about it. Yes, Muhammad Ali was in front of his destiny when, as a young man, he was being recruited to go and kill people in Vietnam. And he said, no, my enemy is right here in the United States. I have nothing against the people of Vietnam, so I'm not going to go and kill them. And so perhaps this is something that folks who have their sons and daughters in the militaries should seriously think about. Are these old men who are making these decisions, who are parading your sons and daughters when it's their birthday, worthy of the life of an 18-year-old, of a 19-year-old who should have a future ahead of him, ahead of her on this earth? Now, that said, are we completely against wars or fighting back? Of course not. It is understood that when you are attacked, you have the obligation to defend yourself. And so, yes, we understand the logic of having a defense mechanism, a military, etc. But what we're watching here is not defense, it's aggression, it's genocide. It needs to stop. And Muhammad Ali had the courage to stand. And now you might say, well, I don't fit the description of Muhammad Ali. Okay, I will share something else with you since Muhammad Ali may not be someone you can relate to. Have you heard of these ladies? Okay, I will now share with you the website of a group of human beings that I've had the privilege of meeting as part of my activism on matters related to Haiti. And I must say, I met some of the most beautiful people of Ottawa in front of the ugliest building in Ottawa. Now, those of you who've been at demonstrations with me in Ottawa that usually end in front of the US Embassy know that I call this building the second ugliest building of the city. And others are not aware, many are not aware, which building I consider to be the ugliest. Well, this slide might give you an idea. Let's see. Yes, let me remove this and take this on. Yes, the Raging Grannies. This is something that actually is international. It's an international movement. There are Raging Grannies in several cities of the United States, and there are Raging Grannies of Ottawa. Those ladies organize songs and demonstrations, and they are funny as hell, but their focus is social justice, climate change, greed, all of the isms. That's what they are fighting to reverse so that we can have a peaceful life on earth. And so I met the Ottawa Raging Grannies as they were walking towards the Museum of War in Ottawa. They were demonstrating against that ugly building that I definitely baptized the ugliest building in Ottawa. How come we have not built museums of peace where we would have found information about men and women, brave men and women who stood up to stop wars, to avoid wars, to fight for justice, not subjugation, justice in the world. And so the Raging Grannies of Ottawa, I've gone to a couple of their demonstrations, and they've invited me to speak at a few church basements in Ottawa, and I will be forever grateful to my sister here, Mary Scarrett, who has joined the ancestors since April 15, 2012. Thank you, Mary, as one of the Raging Grannies that I met, and who told me when, after making a presentation about the situation in Haiti, that, you know, Jean, we grew up with the inclination to believe what we see on CBC Radio Canada, and now what you're telling us is completely different. And I challenge Mary to not take my word for it, but to, you know, buy a plane ticket and go see for herself. And along with her son, Kevin Scarrett, Mary went to Haiti and saw for herself. And this is a picture taken with a group of us here. Some of the brothers came from Haiti. This is Lovensky Pierre-Antoine, who's been kidnapped and disappeared since 2008. We can see Mario Joseph, famed lawyer who fought for justice in Haiti. He died tragically in an accident earlier this year. Many brothers and sisters here in this picture were in Caracas, Venezuela in 2006 during the World Social Forum. In any case, this picture reminds us that our time is limited and we simply have to do what we got to do for peace, for the future of our children. And so I dedicate this episode to you, Mary, to you, Lovensky Pierre-Antoine, to you, Mario Joseph. Okay, so brothers and sisters, if you have any comments, any questions, I would be glad to take it, although the time is very, very short. We have about a couple of minutes. Enough to say to our sister Marie-Nadine Pierre, thank you. You are learning, we are learning, and I hope that our brothers can share. I will leave you now with a couple of advertisements. This is from Komokoda for the event, the demonstration coming up this Friday in New York. If you are in New York, in Manhattan, in New Jersey, anywhere near, please show up because for those of you who are concerned about, you know, Haitian refugees showing up at the border, well, this is the solution. Okay, stop conducting coups in Haiti, in Guatemala, in Honduras, in Venezuela, trying to put fake governments, puppet governments, so that the people can actually live beautiful, prosperous lives in their countries. And no, Donald Trump, there is no such thing as big, beautiful wars. Wars are always ugly.
1814, esclaves yo bataille, yo prenne dépendation.
Chaque jour qui passe, les meilleurs Haïti ont avisé boulot nous piplis pour faire Haïtiens perdre tout espoir dans l'avenir pays nous.
Yo mette gang pour terroriser nous. Yo créé grand goût, boule caille peuple là, fait nous courir, dormir dans serein. Yo dressé 9 tuiles reste avec pour faire nous comprendre Haïti gagne un gouvernement qui travaille pour nous.
Sorti République Dominicaine, passer États-Unis, côté Trump, laguer H derrière nous. Rive la Tiki, Haïtien tourné, juif errant.
Vendredi 27 juin 2025, 1h pour rive 4h dans après-midi. Komokoda mandé diaspora New York, New Jersey, Connecticut vin manifester ensemble avec nous devant consulat Haïti dans New York là. 555 5e avenue dans Manhattan.
Abat toute négociation à gang assassin criminel terroriste.
Abat projet Manachong pour ta fait mercenaires étrangers passer pour libérateur peuple haïtien.
Un gouvernement illégal et puis illégitime pas capable ni constitution ni élection crédible.
Vive un Haïti libre, grand monde dans tout col.
Rendez-vous cassé, vendredi 27 juin 2025. 1h pour 4h, devant consulat Haïti dans Manhattan. 555, 5e avenue, 46e street. Pour plus d'informations, 347 730 36 20, 718 440 68 92, 917 345 28 17.
« 23 d'août 1802, prisonnier Toussaint parti quitter Brest. Les papes jamais gen chance ouais ni petite Lio, ni madame li encore, jouk li trépassé 7 avril 1803. Dictateur la France là à l'époque, Napoléon Bonaparte lui-même, pas de gen l'autre préoccupation au sujet grandette africain ça. C'est soi-disant cachette jalajan t'a quitté dans île à quel besoin qu'on ait. Napoléon voyait un espion qui relève Cafarelli bon côté Toussaint l'ouverture pour battre vente monsieur. Toussaint qui était isolé dans pays Frédissa, loin pays li, famille li, l'armée li, rêve liberté li. Gardé blanc li dit.
Jeune homme, c'est vrai. Moi perdu un pile trésor, mais moi pas quoi c'est qualité trésor l'esprit rien la dap sou yo.
7 avril 1803, Toussaint mourit grand goût dans prison foi des jours. Toussaint Guinou, petite Ouagaou Guinou, Toussaint l'ouverture, gouverneur général zile Haïti, mourit grand goût en ranyon dans frédité cachot foi des jours en bas patte Napoléon Bonaparte. Là nous considérer qu'aucun chaîne travail nèg l'Afrique ça a réalisé. Et puis comportement devant puissance qui était plus fort sur planète là à l'époque, nous comprenons pour qui ça Wendell Phillips dit était calé Gilles dans G colon français qui t'a mené aller en exil là pour lui dire
gardez non jeune homme. Ti bateau là pas grand assez pour l'hypothème.
Pourtant Toussaint mourit, il mourit net. Sous même bateau l'exil là, il était dit qu'il l'histoire s'est obligé de reconnaître comme parole conséquent, prophétie qui accomplit.
Des pays aiment Jean Nouvelé. Mais en vérité, c'est la ve mensier à terre. Pied bois yo bail pour liberté a, ou mettre couper tête li. L'a toujours joint pour li donner. Ou quoi c'est en pile, ou quoi c'est jam sa jam, racine liberté.
Aux autres dit, mais le pas c'est pour ça.
Okay, so brothers and sisters, for those of you who are learning or perfecting your Haitian Creole, you can check my website, this USB key pen, 64 gigabyte, that's Canadian dollars, so that's about 30, well, not even 30, 20 something US. It includes all of the audiobooks and the PDF of Vive Bon Dieu ba religion in Haitian Creole. And if you guys who are following God is Not White in English are interested to purchase some of the recordings in English, let me know. Let me know if there's any interest. You could also get a Gros Tiplim La Fime, and encouraging you folks to teach your kids to learn to read and write and speak Haitian Creole. It is an important investment. Believe me. All right, I'll leave you, and that's all we had for you tonight. And I wish you all the best, and we'll connect at the same station in 1 week time. Meanwhile, for those of you who follow Cause Nef ta Cause Frais, we will see you on Sunday at noon.
Réparation, restitution à demander, célébration, bicentenaire de l'indépendance, que c'est les milliards, 685 millions, 135 000, 171